Welcome to episode 146 of Healthy Rebel Radio. I'm your host, Dr. David Duizer, and I'm here with my co-host, Amy Layne. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's jump into it. And we're back. Hi.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Healthy Rebel Radio, everyone. Thank you so much for listening, for tuning in, and especially thank you for sharing what you'd like us to speak about.
Yes, thank you so much. You've been sending a lot of questions or just general topic. I don't even know how to frame it, but you're saying just kind of like a lot of people are sending me things like, I'd like you to discuss this topic. There's not necessarily a question, and that's really fun too. So if you have an actual question, keep sending them. But also if you just have a topic that you'd like us to discuss, that's really great too. Because it's been giving us great direction and it's been really fun.
Right.
Because it can become stagnant with us in our own conversations.
Well, you know what? It's like part of this is that there's just so much information out there. Well, people telling people what to do. Yeah. Or types of shows where people are trying to give instruction. And this is not one of those shows. No. This show is meant for your entertainment. And
well, direction as well. But we always leave it to you in the end.
Absolutely.
Here are the facts. Here's our experiences. Here's from each of our education and work backgrounds, our points of either view or, what we know to be true. And then we give it back to you.
Yes.
What are you going to do with it?
That's right. Those are the type of shows I like to listen to. Yeah,
me too. I mean, I think that we're all, A, in information overload in one way, and B, I'm really tired of people telling me what to do.
Me as well. So help will cut through the noise.
Yeah.
Today we're going to finish our little discussion of what we were going through last time, which was safe fasting. Last time we spoke about when not to fast or what conditions to be more concerned, to be more mindful of your state before you jump into a fast. And then the second thing was just the types of fasting we went through. So we went through like 16-8, and we went through prolonged water fasting and fasting mimicking types of diets and low-calorie diets and those type of things. So we reviewed those. So if you want to listen to that one, go back and listen to episode 145. We reviewed all those. Today we'll continue with that topic and review what's important if you have already decided you're going to jump in, depending on regardless of what type of fast you're going to do. So we've got lots of experience with this. You have more experience, had more experience than what I had, because I was not big on fasting before. I didn't have the discipline for it.
Yeah, I loved the challenge. For me, it's like the idea of like running a marathon I love setting boundaries for myself because I can be very rebellious and I can spin out of control.
I think you scarred me for life at one point with fasting. Do you remember when you did that 21-day water thing?
No, I did the master cleanse.
Oh my
for
gosh.
21 days.
You probably, many of you, if you're in this space, you're probably familiar with the master cleanse. It's a nightmare. Do not do that.
It's water, maple syrup, cayenne pepper, and lemon juice.
The crazy thing
and then a nighttime and a morning, basically laxative.
Yeah.
For 21 days.
Oh my gosh. The craziest thing about the whole thing was that you didn't lose any weight.
Not a pound.
How can you do that and not lose weight? That was unreal.
That was crazy.
Okay, so please don't do the master cleanse.
And then after was a nightmare. Like my digestion and oh
my
man.
Goodness.
It took so long to recover from that one. That one I don't. What I've had the most success and feel not even eventually like I'm cleansing, just like I'm living an optimum life is the circadian rhythm, whatever you say. Nighttime fasting.
Yeah. Not eating for prolonged periods at night.
Right. So following from night, as soon as it's dark to when it's light again, basically.
It's really healthy.
Which ends up being 12 to 13 hours?
13 hours is I think 13 hours is ideal. 12 would be a minimum.
Okay. So definitely I'd say 13.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love that. It makes me feel so good. I have more energy. At first, obviously, you go through that little lull where you're tired and you're like, I want food. Give me the carbs. And then you start craving your mind goes into the place of craving all the junk that you've ever experienced in your life. But as soon as you get over that little hill, man, that's a place where I like to live.
Definitely. Well, it's nice to feel hungry again. Like after the first few days is a nightmare.
It cleanses my palate too. So I go back to just liking steamed vegetables, oven roasted vegetables. Like all of a sudden I appreciate the real natural state of food again.
Right.
I find it like, and you know me, like I also, aside from the physical, it makes my like mental well-being, and then I can get more in tune. I'm less clouded, and I dip into my spirituality where I like to hang out.
Did that happen after the master cleanse? Did that happen after the master cleanse?
No.
I remember coming home one day and it was like day 17 and you were sitting on the couch and you had these massive dark circles under your eyes and you were just kind of sitting there with no energy and not really able to move. And I'm like, are you still not eating?
Wait a second. Are you still cleansing?
Just hot sauce and syrup.
Yeah, but it did it ticked
Wait a
up
minute,
because I got really high. Like, because you get really high.
Oh, yeah. That first week you were on
high.
fire.
I was like, do. And then it just burning blaze of crash.
Oh
my gosh. I don't know. I'm not going to do that again.
So,
I've done so many. And then I also used to do the herbal detox. What's that one called? Wild Rose.
Wild Rose.
Oh, Wild Rose.
Stimulant laxatives in there.
And you know, I never had any effect from that one.
No.
Like I never had any cleansing. It was so weird. It just made me, again, crave junk. But I mean, I was in a different headspace too.
Oh yeah, definitely. And some people find a lot of benefit with that one for their bowels, but it just doesn't work for everybody.
I remember breaking that one with like fried potatoes. I'm just like, what are you doing?
Delicious.
Like, could you make it worse on your bowels?
Oh, darn.
Anyway.
Well, let's talk about what to do, how to do a fast safely. So last time we reviewed that you have to watch out. You don't want to bring your metabolic state down. You don't want to do too long. You don't want to do it if you have hypothyroidism or if you have poor blood sugar control. If you're on any medications, you need to consult with someone.
Also, there are times of life when it's appropriate and times don't make it harder on yourself. If
Definitely.
you have something major going on where you need a lot of brain power, I think a lot of people don't correlate that you're burning so much energy when you're using a lot of brain power. So if you're working on a launch for your business, or if you're, writing a paper or whatever, if you have something, a lot of headspace being you're burning more calories, eat really healthy, drink a lot of water. Yeah. Now's not your time to cleanse. Wait till there's a little moment.
Your brain uses 90 to 100 grams of carbs per day.
Yes. And I feel like nobody talks about that.
Well, no one in the mainstream really talks about it. The tricky thing is in the deep dark web,
okay,
where
not the dark web.
No, that's the wrong term.
No, that's the wrong term.
In the weeds. This is the thing about sayings.
Okay, no.
In the
How
weeds,
about in the geek?
In the geek world of nutrition science,
there we go.
People are talking about how many carbs per day to eat and how many grams of carbs per day.
Okay, I'm talking about in the other circles where the rest of the world hangs out.
Go keto or carnivore. Never eat carbs again. Yeah. You'll be fine.
Or mean vegan.
Mean vegans. Absolutely. Okay, so let's go through 3 steps then. Okay. Well, the first step is really, what do you do before the fast? How do you jump into it? And okay, this is
don't eat Smarties before your fast.
Please don't eat Smarties before you'll have a really bad headache.
No offense to Smarties.
No offense to Smarties for sure. They brought a lot of joy to our childhoods that we're now restricting from our kids.
That our children think they're a toy.
They think one of those. That's a shaker box.
True thinks it's a shaker. Anyways. We'll pay for therapy later.
Oh, yeah, sure. It'll be fine.
Move on.
So you're jumping into a fast. So what do you do leading up? Well, the first thing is, like you said, you want to make sure you're in the right mental headspace. You're going to be hungry. You're probably going to be tired. So,
relax mentally into it's okay to be a little uncomfortable when it's a healthy motivation.
Definitely.
I feel like humans, I look back even on myself, and the most time I've wasted and the biggest pains I've caused myself was the resistance to just being a little uncomfortable.
Right.
It's ridiculous. You're just going to be a little uncomfortable. You're okay.
Yeah. It's perfectly human to be uncomfortable.
It's totally okay. And on the other side of uncomfortable is often the reward. So.
And exactly.
Relax into it.
That's right.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. You jump in whenever you want. You've got a good insight. So leading into a fast, my recommendation, and these are strictly my personal recommendations. This is what I think really works for people. It's difficult to find perfect evidence for exactly what to do at any time, but there's lots of evidence for the benefits of fasting. So let's get by that. It's really good for you. The leading in, I think it should be not a crazy heavy binge meal. I think it should be a well-rounded meal that includes all food groups, making sure you get enough fiber. So vegetables, a little bit of carbs, so 2 different types of fiber, a little bit of protein, and a little bit of healthy fats. So like a well-rounded meal. And this is not rocket science, but I think we need to have antioxidants. We need to have amino acids from protein. We need to have some healthy fats to get us through that first day. Because the first 2 days, so the first day you're hungry, the second day you're miserable, the third day you feel amazing.
And the great news is if you're vegan or plant-based, your protein is already going to have fiber in there as well.
Yeah,
definitely. So you're going to get it all.
Absolutely. So if you have a dish with beans or something, a little bit of rice, a little bit of beans, a little bit of vegetables, cover that in olive oil, you're going to be good to go. A few nuts and seeds, you're going to be good to go. A general meal would be like a small salad with a little grain on the side and a little bit of protein, whatever type of protein you like. So it could be beans, hemp seeds, it could be a lean meat, some fish.
So what I'm seeing is a bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
Essentially.
That's
so
right.
A bowl. Put the bottom of your bowl, put the greens, power greens, layer on top of that beans, lentils, I will say. You can, whatever protein.
No, it's good.
A bunch of either roasted or steamed veggies, grain on top of that, some fats, seeds, nuts, olive oil, boom.
I like that last meal to be dinner.
Yeah.
So then you have the whole night to get into it. So let's say you have dinner around 7 or 8, and then you don't eat before bed. You go to bed around 10, and then you have a full night of no food.
Most people don't eat that late. That's just our reality.
Okay, so sometime between 5 and 7 would be nice.
Would be optimal. But if you're like us, and reality is reality.
Don't eat 3 hours before bed.
No,
that's pretty much.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it is what it is. So then you jump into it, and then the next day you decide on what you're going to do. If you're going to do low calorie, if you're just going to have a prolonged water fast, or you have to drink water. Regardless.
A ton of water, and I don't want to hear another grown man or woman tell me they don't like water. It doesn't matter. I'm over it.
Okay, but this tap here, I'm just teasing.
I'm over it. I'm done discussing it. We're all adults. Water's essential. Everyone move on mentally. You're like, it's just, I can't do it anymore. I can't listen to another grown person tell me they don't like water.
I know.
I'm over it. The best way to get your water in is by using something that you know is a certain amount. So say like a water bottle that has 500 mils or a liter. Decide how much water you're going to drink that day. Say 3 to 4 liters of water. That's what I like to do. Know how many times you have to fill up said water bottle. Stick to that and just do it.
Absolutely. And you might like absolutely need that amount during a fast.
But also I find sometimes when you're fasting, you can get in the habit of consuming nothing.
Oh, yeah. And
you have to push the water the first day so your body's set on, oh, this is what we're doing.
Right.
You have to like set yourself up for success. So the measurement for me, I do a 1 liter bottle, but I mean, I walk around like a pack mule, so I don't think that's exactly optimal for everyone. So the 500 milliliter, know you're going to fill that up, set amount of times, just do it.
Just do it. That's it.
And then every time you go to pee, do your squats.
I like that.
All day workout.
Now, I'm not the type of person to have absolute strict rules regardless of the type of fast. A lot of people say, is this breaking a fast? Is that breaking a fast? Where do I stand? It's so personal. Again, you're not doing this medically. If you're doing this medically, if you're doing a medically supervised fast, you're in a facility. Like there's a water-only facility in California. There's some specialists around who put people through this type of fast, and they have strict rules. And that makes sense if you're trying to treat a condition.
I think that people are always trying to do good, bad,
yeah, exactly.
on, off, and that's not the reality of life.
No, this should.
We all need healthy boundaries. Like, I'm a person that needs to set boundaries.
Yes.
For myself. I need to set those boundaries or I will just continually walk all over them. So I feel good when I have a boundary. So set boundaries for yourself, but don't be a crazy person.
No, because
if you have a quarter cup of cashews instead of having, whatever, like 2 tablespoons, like, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or 1/3 of a cup instead of having 2 tablespoons. Like, don't be a crazy person.
No, definitely.
Like, just
you have to make
relax
it easy.
a bit. Set the boundary that you're not going to go crazy, but also be kind to yourself. And if you do something that's a little bit off, then the next opportunity, just self-correct. Like, also practice self-love whenever you're doing these types of things. Like, treat yourself the way you would treat someone that you love, like a best friend or a lover or whatever. Be like completely forgiving and just move on.
Just move forward.
Because that's the only way to move that energy forward and have success is the only way.
Do you find if people set their boundaries too strict, then it prevents them from doing what they're supposed to be doing?
That's what perfectionism is. It's so funny because we think perfectionism and hoarding are opposites. They're the exact same thing. Because a perfectionist that doesn't have perfection will just go, well, then to hell with it, and everything gets insane. Because when they can't hang on to the control of perfection, which, newsflash, nobody can. And the people that you think are doing it, it's a facade.
Right.
So, and it's a torturous facade. Obviously, optimal living, which is like your version of a light perfection, is beautiful and wonderful and should be. But like, don't set things up that if you just come off like, you know, a little tiny bit, that all's gone to hell and you need to go to McDonald's. That's insane behavior. Right? It's not right or wrong. It's not good or bad. I know we all love black and white, but that's not reality of real life. You know, we've just kind of been taught that by what we see.
Yeah. How do we unteach it? Just through practice?
Instant forgiveness. It's what I've noticed with the women I work with. Instant forgiveness and move on. Because in forgiveness, you're giving yourself self-love. And when you realize that McDonald's is the opposite of love. You know, we also grew up in a culture of like, treat yourself, buy the shoes, drink the wine, eat the meal. No, that's not love. That's like spending out of your means. That's eating junk that's going to hurt you in the long term. And drinking wine all the time isn't a high-functioning life. That's not optimal living. Optimal living is go for the run.
Right.
Have the 10 minutes to meditate or go for the walk. Take a few minutes in the bathroom, lock the door from your kids and breathe deeply and envision something. Say your affirmations. Do the cleanse when it's calling. That's love. So instant forgiveness is like, oh, you messed up. That's okay. Let's just move on.
Right.
Instead of punishment. Punishment drives you to those like fringe behaviors where it just sends you down a loop of I'll never be good enough. I'm not meant to have the nice body. I'm not meant to feel good. The dark thoughts that creep in that are all lies.
The way that I try to help people bring these boundaries down is just to bring that into the forefront of their mind is to make the boundaries more loose and to make it easier. And what I found with you is you have been very focused on allowing people or instructing people not to measure things too much, not to track the weight too much, just to follow the principles and move forward.
Right. So in measuring, like that's why I get a little more loose, because what I've noticed with working with the people I have worked with now, thousands from all over the world, those that measure and every last little bit and every last little second are the ones that fall in on themselves and never get to the place they want to be.
They have that failure that pulls them out.
Right. So instead of using like exactly a cup, whatever, a handful, anywhere, because anywhere you are, you can look at a hand. Anywhere you are, you can say, oh, this is how much protein I should have. This is like a thumb of fat. That's how much fat I should. Like you can always use that measurement. And also that's real life, because real life isn't walking around with your measuring cups. It just isn't.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's not reality.
Absolutely not.
And at some point, if you are measuring everything all the time and you need that exact measurement to live up to whatever, you're going to say, to hell with this. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, I can't live like this anymore. It ends. But yet, if you set yourself up with measurements, then you start to eye things and then you start to know your boundaries and you start to whatever, and you get in a groove where you can let go and relax while still moving forward, which is optimal, because you want to set up a pillar. You don't want to live in obsessive behavior. No. Right? Sometimes you need that obsessive behavior to set up a good habit.
You do.
You need to dive in. You need to be in it. You need to sleep, drink, eat, read about it, like be it, whatever, to get that going. But once you get to the top of the hill, you can, not as in relax as in go backwards, but relax as in trust yourself that you're in the new way of being.
The quicker you can get there, the better.
Quicker, the better. That's why you go all in for like 3 weeks.
All in for 3 weeks.
For change.
For absolutely, to create that habit, to create that discipline. The thing that I think is important to mention, and something you talk about a lot, is that whatever you're doing for your health, whatever you're trying to contribute positively to your overall well-being, should be something that you can sustain forever.
Forever.
This is not a push towards a goal and then completely stop.
Yeah.
And
I think that was like a real trend.
Because that's where the counting comes in, you know what I mean?
Well, that was a real trend of quote-unquote diets of the 90s, early 2000s.
You have 30 days to lose 16 pounds.
And then you just wear a bikini and
fine.
drink
No
strawberry daiquiris on the beach, and you're just there now.
It's going to be paradise.
Right. So then when you get to the point of like, oh, wait a second, like, especially when you restrict so crazy and you do have that treat and then you balloon up and all your work seemingly is gone.
So frustrating. Oh, it's the worst.
Well, you collapse in on yourself. You feel like a failure. And what's worse than feeling like a failure?
Plus, it's super bad for your metabolic health to make a big swing down and then back up. It's really bad.
I mean, you get away with more when you're younger. So that's the other thing I feel like people have a false idea. Because like, oh, well, I fad dieted when I was like 20.
Works.
And I went from whatever to whatever.
Sweet
and
potatoes
it was
and chicken.
Awesome. Like, no.
Like,
no.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
So now you're into a fast. What do you do? Okay, so what do you need to think about during the fast, regardless of the type, whatever type of fast you're doing? You need to think about a few things. And I put these in the category of mindfulness. What do we need to be mindful of so that we can stay perfectly healthy and get through to the end? Now, I already mentioned what happens in the first couple days. Doesn't matter what type. First day, pretty bad, pretty hungry. Energy starts to dip a little bit, but it's not terrible. Second day, miserable usually for most people. This is in general, right? Second day is pretty irritable, super duper hungry. Third day, things totally lighten up and you can feel that euphoric sense. Yeah. That's very common. Some things you need to be mindful of for that period and for the rest of the fast. The first thing is brain fog. You may not feel as sharp as you once felt.
You may forget things.
Even though you might
put your
have
keys in the fridge.
You might. Even though you might have that euphoric feeling and you might feel like your energy's up, your focus could be lacking and you could be experiencing something, some sensitivity to distraction, I call it. So be mindful of brain fog. The second thing is lightheadedness. So now we've got a couple days of low insulin. So overall low blood sugar. And what can happen is you can have a feeling of low blood sugar if you're used to having higher levels. And then you can also have from low resources and from the spilling of sodium, you can have low blood pressure. I was just going to say, because I run low blood pressure and I need to add salt. So when I take salt out, when I've attempted to with a cleanse and not put any in, like just going from saying tying a shoelace to standing up, I would see stars. Yeah. So I learned with myself, I have to keep in the Bragg's. Definitely you do. Yeah. The Bragg's can be really helpful. We're talking about Bragg's liquid aminos. It's just natural soy sauce. And
little bit goes a long way.
It does. Does it ever? What a lot of people think that that's low blood sugar. And then they'll think, I need to eat right now. No. And it's not. No. You need to make sure your electrolytes are stable. Yeah. And it can be tricky, even if you're not fasting. Like if you're feeling those type of feeling where you're feeling lightheaded, I mean, obviously get checked out. But it's highly unlikely that it's low blood sugar unless you just ate some candy and it's an hour later and you're hungry and lightheaded. Then it went up really high and down really quick. That's different. Or if you drink juice still, I'm going to keep saying, don't drink juice. Okay. So we're talking about mindfulness. So what else do we need to be mindful of? So we talk about brain fog and lightheadedness. The third one is insomnia. And in the first few days, especially, you can feel like it's a little bit more difficult to fall asleep. You just need less sleep. That's all it is. That high probability. Take your time. You didn't eat as many calories. You need less recovery. You didn't do as much activity because you were tired. Or you didn't have the energy resources to expend. And so there's not a lot of replenishment time required. That happens with overconsumption of food. You can feel more tired with eating. Anyways, watch out for the insomnia. Don't stress about it. Just move forward. You will sleep fine over the and then kind of the third and fourth night. Most people are right back to normal, regardless. Okay, so insomnia. The fourth one is that weakness, the low energy, the weakness. You might not be able to push it at the gym on the treadmill. It's going to feel a little different. Walk. The get up and go. Just go for walks. Keep it light. You're not going to be as strong as you were or as you are when you're consuming food. The next one is irritability. I mentioned that, of course, on day 2 because that's what I experience every single time is irritability on day 2. Some people can be irritable longer, quicker, more intensely. Watch out for the irritability. Know your personality. You settle in. It's a good time to connect. Mourn your loved one. Mourn your spouse. I'm not going to be eating. What? I may be a meanie McMean. I'm going to be a nightmare for a few days. But it's really good for my longevity. Please support me. I want to be here longer and nicer. Right. So anyways, you can feel irritable and it's a good chance to practice being present with your own personal emotions and your own reactions to your emotions. Yes. It's a good opportunity. Like, why am I mad right now? Yeah. Really sit with it. See what comes up. That's my favorite. See what comes up. Because you might be shocked. It's not usually what you think it is. Right. Yeah, there's always. I think it's a good opportunity because you at that state, this is a physical irritability. you're having this mental emotional experience because of something physical, which is just low resources you didn't eat. Yeah. Pretty wild. So what about the times when you're eating? Is it a physical issue?
What are you covering up?
Is it dehydration? What is it that's not allowing you to deal with whatever the emotion is? With
all this being said, don't go so serious. I've made this mistake before, and I've approached spirituality and change very seriously. And the best and the fastest way to get to a good place with it all is see the hilarious side of it. Right. Like when you're being mean because you're hungry and you're mad about whoever didn't take their shoes off or whatever, and you're having a hissy, just rise above yourself a little and see how hilarious that is. That you're acting like a toddler that's cranky. Right? Right. Just see how funny that is. Yeah. And then you can get to a place faster. It's not dismissive. It actually brings up, oh, what's going on here faster. Yeah. It sounds counterintuitive, and it's not. No, it's not. It's a powerful tool.
When you have toddlers, it's easy to embrace that. You can say, okay, well, I'm acting like this toddler. Yeah.
And how irrational it is when I watch a little person do it, but yet I, take my own emotions very seriously.
Definitely.
So,
what also can happen is the increased sensitivity to your environment.
Oh, geez. I was just going to say, you have to be very careful. Like, I always know, I have a red flag. I don't think I've ever shared my red flag with you.
I'm interested to hear your red flag.
When I'm in a place where I should be doing the spiritual work and I start distracting myself from feeling uncomfortable or what I'm really mad about or sad about or whatever, I go on the Daily Mail website.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
And it's so funny because it's not my personality. Yeah. I give two shits about celebrity stuff.
Sure.
You know me.
For sure.
I really don't care. I find it mind-numbing to even pretend to talk about with people.
Yeah.
I also hate the way the media portrays these poor people.
Oh, yeah.
Yet I will find myself all of a sudden scrolling down like, well, what did Kate Middleton wear? Well, who did design it? Well, what did she say?
Oh my gosh.
And then I rise above myself and go, yeah, okay. You got to shut this down. There's something going on. You're distracting yourself. Like, there's not a moment in life where this is like who you are, what you have time to do. Like, it's insane.
Right.
And I find that funny.
Definitely.
So I shut it down and I go in. And it's always something I'm running from. But that it's so funny because that's become my red flag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, if I see that open on your phone, I'll know something's going on. It'll be easy for me. Guys, if you're out there, if you listen to this show and your partner's on the Daily Mail,
maybe a red flag.
Maybe it's something you did.
Maybe it's a red flag.
The next one. Okay, so
so
increased
noises.
Sensitivity.
So smells, like there's certain essential oils while I'm cleansing are a no-go in my home. Anything chemical can't be around me. I have to bring them, like, even with Christmas music, when I'm in like a place, I'll have to do like the classical instrumental. Right. Like I have to like set the tone in my home. I always like the nice lights. Like anything aggressive has to go.
Yeah.
And also there's nothing wrong with that. It's usually resetting of your home because you start to not realize like how much craziness is going on around you that is either distraction or unhealthy or,
How about something someone said? Like being sensitive to something someone said.
Yeah.
Being sensitive to the news, for example.
Cut the news out.
Well, you can have overhyped reactions, whether it be
of course
easily to cry.
The news is literally designed to make you feel something.
It is.
It is designed to make you feel anxious, sad. It's taking the lowest level of what happened in the world that day.
Yeah, and sharing it with you.
And saying, here's how it all happened.
And then you have no calories in your system. You're like, oh my God,
the
world is coming down.
Like, just don't consume news while you're...
No,
I highly recommend. I mean, we got rid of cable years ago. So... we were somewhere not too long ago and we had to consume... we were in a cabin. Drew was like driving us crazy. She was so tired but wouldn't nap. And we just looked at each other and were like, we have to put on a cartoon for this child because we had to get Ever to sleep and like we were trying to do something. And this cabin had cable. So we turned on like a child's network.
A children's network, yeah.
First of all, we were all just like staring blankly like zombies at the TV because we hadn't seen commercials. And we're just like, what is this? And we're just like staring at them, whatever. But the best part was Drew just tapped out. She's
Yeah,
like,
she's
I
like,
don't
"I can't watch
care. I
this."
can't watch this. This is annoying. And like
She's used to like you just.
she's like, but I want to watch blank. And we're like,
Exactly
that's
what
not
she wants
how
at all times.
TV works. And she's like, what?
Yeah.
And then like the commercial, she's like, why is this on? It was like,
overwhelming.
yeah, it was really great. Like, because she's never asked again.
Toys, this, that.
Yeah.
Oh.
But anyway, it just reminded me of how aggressive and overstimulating it all is.
Goodness gracious.
And I can't even handle the news. Now that I have kids, like I can't.
I can't listen to music.
No. Oh,
Kidding me?
Oh, I know.
Anything.
It's hard. Put foot there.
You should see me fasted. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
And then the final one is cramping, which everyone talks about. So make sure you drink your electrolytes. I like mineral water. I do when I fast. I do sparkling mineral water, and then green tea, coffee, and sometimes red wine. So then finally, how do we break a fast? What do we do next? Okay, so those are the things to be mindful of. Don't forget them. You can even review that and write them down, because some of them are going to happen and you're not going to remember that I said them.
Yeah.
And it's important to know, because you want to be absolutely centered and strong and in control. Finally, how do we break a fast? There's a couple things that I normally do. I usually get people to do initially vegetables and olive oil, or vegetables and some healthy fat like nuts and seeds. That's the first meal. It can be steamed vegetables. It can be not necessarily too much raw, because that can be pretty heavy. Steamed and roasted usually, or a soup, like a veggie soup, something like that, with some fat in it. And then the next meal following that would include a little bit of protein, and the same thing, vegetables and some fat. And then the third meal would have some grains, some complex carbohydrates that have either straight grains or some starchy veg.
So like maybe brown rice or potatoes. Exactly.
That would be the third meal. So if you finished, if you went fasted or did a low calorie week or whatever you did, and then you went all the way and you're going to break it with breakfast, then I would have vegetables and fat for breakfast. Seriously. It's really, really good. And then at lunch,
it'll be delicious.
You can absolutely. At lunch, you can add in a little bit of beans, or you can have some lean protein. And then at dinner, that's when you can have introduce some complex carbohydrate.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't. You'd go the next day.
Yeah, I'd wait till lunch the next day, or breakfast the next day.
Yeah. So the point is, don't break it with simple sugar. Don't break it with a ton of carbs or a ton of protein.
Junk. Don't break it with junk.
No, don't break it with any junk.
And also, don't go crazy with like spices or sauces.
For sure.
Keep it simple. Like, you're going to be shocked at how, like, let those taste buds reset. Enjoy the fruits of your labor. You just worked really hard to reset your system and your body, and think of it as like if you just go crazy undoing all your hard work. Enjoy the hard work. You put that work in. Enjoy the benefits that you're getting.
For sure. It's important to note that you'll lose some weight. Usually half the weight will be water. You'll probably gain that back in the first couple of days. So that can feel a little different in terms of...
Which means it's not weight that you lost anyway.
Exactly.
So don't stress about it.
Do not stress. It's healthy to have a swing once in a while. That's my bit about safe fasting. Does that make sense? If anyone has any questions, I have lots of other notes.
So as far as like, what are we calling the circadian rhythm fasting? What are people calling that?
Time restricted feeding. Okay.
So that's a way you can just live. Yes.
Definitely. Do not eat for 13 hours every night. That's what I like to do.
I highly recommend it for everyone now. And, I've recommended it for everyone on our program now. Like our program, Married with Doing This, which really was what I was recommending.
It was.
But I wasn't strict on it.
Yeah.
But now seeing the benefits, I'm very much just like, this is what we're all doing.
What we're really saying here is that please do everything you can to not have that little bit of snack that we sometimes had suggested for people after dinner. And we're saying have 3 hours where you consume nothing. If you get hungry before bed, it might be a little more difficult to fall asleep in the first few nights.
And I'll tell you my biggest tip for preventing that is everybody that eats at night has a thing.
Yeah.
I've never met someone that doesn't have either a rotation of a couple things a thing that they consume. It's a thing. And what I recommend is take the thing out of your home completely, no matter if it's healthy, nothing. Take it out until you're in control of it.
Yes.
And this sounds crazy, but mine used to be peanut butter.
Right.
I would just literally sit down with a spoon and peanut butter. I would eat ridiculously strict. And
now you're making it sound crazy now.
Okay, well, it's the truth.
That's all right.
I tell you my crazy for your benefit.
For your benefit.
Take my struggle and do good with it.
Right.
That's my whole goal here. I'd sit down and just like eat spoonfuls of peanut butter. And, we're talking about, 100 calories a spoonful. So you have like 5 spoonfuls of peanut butter.
Goodness.
That's 500 that's a meal.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know why I'm not losing weight. But like, you're having a meal at night.
Yeah.
Right? But it's fat. It's on my own. No, you're eating way too much. It's way too easy. Anyway, I literally stopped, like, sorry, honey, you need to support me in this. We both love peanut butter. It's not coming in our home till I'm in control of it. You obviously support me, and I support you. So we just didn't bring it back in until I wasn't a crazy person. And then I cleansed myself of that thing, and now it's in our home, and now I think it's hilarious that I would even do that because I'm not that person anymore. It's gone. That's the other thing about cleansing or like resetting a pattern. You know, we're so used to in our culture saying these things like people don't change, spots, leopards. Well, you know, it's not true. You 100% can cleanse yourself of a behavior. Some behaviors need reattention, resetting, but some behaviors, it's one and done. Definitely. You cleanse yourself of it. You're done with it. If you do the physical work and the spiritual work at the same time, what are you smiling at?
You can do it.
Are you laughing? Because I'm really good at quitting things.
I'm just thinking about you having 5 tablespoons.
Yeah, I did.
I know. Yeah. I'm a replacement guy. I don't know if it's dopamine receptors or what, or dopamine production. I need to have something in my hands. So instead of chocolate covered almonds or a big bowl of nuts and seeds before bed, it's sparkling water. It was turmeric tea, but then David's tea cut my...
You know what it is with you, which you don't acknowledge?
My tea, it's gone. That turmeric mango tea?
Yeah, I'm over David's tea.
Oh, come on.
No. There's so many chemicals and added stuff, and I got really frustrated with it. I'm just over it. No shade, David's tea. But if you want to...
I don't know much about you.
Step up your game.
But I like the turmeric mango.
That one was good.
Gone.
It's gone. But you know, with you, it's ritual. So some people are about ritual.
Yeah.
That's why when I'm not even going to say it.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm not going to say it because you'll get angry.
I won't get angry.
No, it's not about you. It's about me.
Okay. Anyhow.
It's about a ritual. And that you get mad at me when I say that I still am in tune. I understand why people do it.
Okay, yeah, I understand.
Because I understand the ritual. I'm talking about smoking. If you don't know, back in the day, when I used to partay, I used to also smoke when I drank.
You're acting like you were like some crazy partier.
Well, anyways. You know. David gets really mad at me when we talk about smokers and we talk about how insane it is that people are still smoking in this day and age.
A lot of people still smoking.
A lot of people. And what I say to him is, but I understand the ritual that they enjoy. No, I think it's disgusting. I understand that it's whatever, but I miss that ritual. And he just looks at me and can't comprehend what I'm saying. But then he's the same person that likes sitting down. He gets his Moroccan water glass every night and gets his sparkling water. Yeah. And that's what people like about the smoking.
I understand.
When they break it down. It's that moment, that thing.
Fair. That's why my plan really works for them.
Right.
Which is cutting the habits that go along with the key habit.
Right.
And people do pretty well with that. Anyways.
They do great. And also with the ritual, like if your thing is like mineral water, like what we have done, like we got beautiful glasses.
Yeah.
You know, we make it a special thing. Like we really do. We set up, it's a beautiful moment in the day that you can sit down, the kids are in bed, you can actually think for a second and have, you know, that thing you enjoy.
It helps so much.
It does.
So much. Mm-hmm. And that's what really changed things for me was just adding that or restricting food before bed. Major change. Anyways, those are my fasting tips. Do you want to get into our segment for today?
Sure.
Okay, we've got another segment called Top 5 Top 5. We have done this type of segment before. Amy's going to list 5 tips. Top 5 tips.
So this one was requested by multiple people. So shout out to everyone that messaged me on Instagram. Just about fostering positive attitudes around healthy food with children, toddlers, babies, and or changing. You know, and I will say 2 things that came up for me when I was thinking about this topic. You know, I've had people that have come to me on the program that their children are already really far down the road of junk food. Like I'm talking like the way they were raised and they raised their kids was like the woman would eat healthy because she's motivated by weight loss, not necessarily health. But then you have this attitude of, oh, kids get away with everything. You know, let's give them the Kraft dinner and the ravioli and junk. So
yeah, they've got the highest metabolism. Right. Just do whatever they want.
So there's 2 things I want to say about that. So they're already down that road. So then the guilt starts to set in when they have the awakening of, oh my God, this is insane.
Yeah.
But we have to feed these growing people healthily. but then they email me with the guilt. Well, I've already done this. This is what they demand. This is what they know. How do I ever change this?
Right.
So, I listened to this psychologist one time, and he was talking to a group of people, and this mother got up and she had a very raw awakening about the fact that she had this very hostile, toxic relationship with her 8-year-old child. And she was finally admitting her participation in the problem. And that maybe it didn't start out as it was her frustration with him, but it was her reaction that perpetuated, that brought it to a level of toxicity that was just unbelievably unhealthy. And she was having a breakthrough and saying, I've screamed at this child now for 8 years. I've ruined him. And the psychologist literally went over and held her hand and been like, he's only 8. You start today.
Right.
You change everything today. You can completely turn this ship around. So no matter what's gone on, you can change.
Absolutely.
Have the realization, feel through the guilt. Guilt should push you to the other side. Feel those emotions. It's okay to feel bad. It's okay to shed tears. Like, look what I've done. But grieve it and go through it to change. Don't stay in it. Mm-hmm. That's the key. So, go home and change. Yeah. And it may not be everything at once, but just stop bringing, anyway. And the other thing is the mindset with kids that we're like, well, they're resilient. They can do anything. Yeah. They can have cake for dinner. Like, they're not gaining weight. Look, they're fine. We need to, as a society, delete that mentality and flip it onto how pertinent it is for us to build these children with a foundation of health. Physically, mentally, emotionally, habitually, all of it. Delete that they can get away with anything.
Absolutely. Because it's not now when they'll be punished.
That's right.
It's not now.
It's down the road. And think back on foundation. Building these little people and helping them become superhumans when they're older. Yeah. Giving them as much as we can. Because it's hard enough, right?
Is it ever?
So those are my 2 caveats that I would just say.
Okay.
So here's 5 things that work for us and have worked for other people. It's
been really helpful for me to live with a nutritionist, I must say. And luckily you came into it with those 2 insights. Kind of, you already had those in mind when you were putting food in front of them initially, thankfully. So one of the ones with this, when you start, if you're turning things around or you're around older people that don't necessarily believe in the health of food, people can kind of shame you and guilt you. And I will say one thing. Just give them this, just give them that, whatever, live. It's fine.
Oh, you're restricting them. I once had 2 conversations. When True turned 1, I had family members that literally told me I was being mean by not providing her with cake for her first birthday.
Right. Yeah.
And
she had never heard of cake, by the way.
And if I was not in a strong place, I would have caved into that.
Totally.
I would have been pushed into giving my child.
Just you and I here with a 1-year-old with a big cake in front of her.
Right. Why would we do that?
Honestly.
Like, it's insane behavior.
Yeah.
So I would say with that, find your backbone.
Yeah.
Other people are going to say things to you, and they know not what they say.
Right.
They do not know any better. They're not trying to hurt you.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't think it's hateful at all.
They don't understand.
Yeah.
So that's okay, and you have to let people be where they are. You can't... this is a hard lesson for me and something I still... this year I'd say I've made peace with, that I can't change anybody. They have to change on their own. So it's something that you can just explain sweetly, like what you're doing and why you're doing it. But you don't have to you don't have to continue to explain. No. Like, I just stopped at one point when someone was like, one of the family friends then re-brought it up. I can't believe you didn't give cake to your child, whatever. I just had no emotion about it anymore.
Yeah.
I made total peace with it. I said, no, she's never had sugar and it's not yet. And she didn't have cake until her 2nd birthday.
Yeah.
And that's personally what works for me and my family.
Deal with it.
Deal with it. It's just so strange that we've come to a place in society that would even be perceived as me being mean.
Right.
It's just so weird to me. I can't even comprehend. But anyway, so make peace with other people's judgments and stand firm in your own belief system is something I would say. As long as it's something healthy for you and your family.
Yes.
Forget what other people have to say about it. So here are my top 5 how to foster those healthy eating habits or how to change them, And these are things that have really worked for me and for other people.
I should say that we are, at least the one who's eating mostly, has no interest in sugar.
No.
Fortunately.
And there's a note in here as to what I've done when it has popped up.
Right. Okay.
So, number one, starting out as a baby, when babies try food, first of all, I don't have science on this, and there may be out there, but this is just what I've seen to be true. I start my babies with a savory thing. So I've started my babies with avocado. I haven't rushed into the banana and the sweet stuff because yes, it is natural. Yes, it is sugar. But I feel like if you're prepping those taste buds, I just think start with the savory first, get them used to that. So I've always started with avocado. So when you first feed a baby any new food, the faces they make are going to be hilarious. And it's very natural for when you're looking at your baby to start mimicking your baby's face. Don't mimic your baby's face. Set the face for your baby.
Yes.
And it sounds crazy, but it works.
It works it
Every
works
time.
amazingly.
So even to this day, whenever's trying something that's a little spicy or a little different, I make that face. And even if at first she's like, what in the heck is this face? It always comes to, okay, I'll try that again. Even if it's something she doesn't continue to want to eat, I always set the face, and the face is excited. This is a pleasurable experience. Yes. I anticipate her liking everything, even if she's told me 1,000 times she doesn't like it.
Yeah, do it with your husband too.
Oh, yeah, test that out with your husband. So number one, set the face for your baby. You know, that's like holding the space for your home. Same, all the same. Bring into your home, what you bring into your home. If there is food that you do not want your family to consume, do not bring it into your home. This is huge for us. True Stone Duizer will consume strawberry cashew ice cream for every meal of the day if it is presented to her.
Yeah.
It is the one treat. She doesn't eat a lot. She eats about 2 tablespoons. But if it's in my freezer, she will ask for it.
Yeah, she just keeps asking. Like
Breakfast,
I said, she doesn't like sweet.
Lunch, dinner.
She'll
she
just
will
lick
ask.
it twice.
And not only is it a waste because she doesn't then consume it, if she does consume it, because once in a while I'll say my child doesn't do something and she will prove me wrong because that's the science of children. I've learned we just don't bring it into our home. If we're going to have a treat, we have it outside. It's an event. We go to do said treat, then we leave treat there. Same with everything. If you're changing what your child consumes, you don't want them to, you don't want to make whatever meal anymore. Just don't bring the stuff into your home. Set the atmosphere, and at first, if they're used to having whatever junk in the house and they have a hissy fit, that's okay too. It's like you cleansing. Just know it's not that serious. Everyone's going to be okay. You have to reset and delete the memory of the thing. And it does work. Like I said with this ice cream thing, she asked like for a month every single day. She no longer, it's gone. She doesn't even remember.
It's almost like she forgets about it. Yeah.
She forgets it's even a thing. She doesn't even ask out of the house anymore. The other day she saw it in the freezer downstairs at our grocery store. She was like, hey. And I was like, oh, look at this. Like, she forgot. So like I was saying about the birthday cake, whatever, there's no rush. I know like it's fun or there's a societal idea of like smashing cakes and all the stuff. There's just no rush. No. There's no rush,
There's going to be lots of time for cakes.
Like a lot of people were really jazzed about Halloween before we ever were excited about it because I just didn't comprehend what was exciting. It actually gave me anxiety because I didn't want to explain that like Smarties are not shakers. And I knew as soon as like we hang around with the friends, the friends are going to tell her. So, there's just no rush for the junk. Like set up the holidays so that they're not centered around the food. Bring up level everything else so that it's more important than the commercial junk because it's not even a thing. Like if you actually break down, it's just not even a thing.
People can be weird about it too. Like,
they're so weird because they start to get nostalgic and think it's a thing.
Well,
it's
we
not
go to
a thing.
these festivals and we have like say you have an 8-month-old strapped to your chest and they're like just about to fall asleep or something, and then someone comes up to you at a festival and it's like, do you want this sucker?
It was so weird.
No, this 8-month-old does not want this sucker.
And then the baby's like, yeah, I want the sucker. And then she loses her mind. She's like, what is this thing? And then the woman's like, oh, it's all gone. I'm like, just stop talking.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's not a thing. That being said, like when your child does want to try the thing and it is an appropriate age, like True had this fantasy about lollipops. It's like in all her books. Halloween came. We had to let her try this sucker.
Oh yeah, we don't make her weird about it.
We can't make her weird. We can't make her resentful. She tried it. She forgot that she was eating it. I snuck it away, threw it out. She asked for it later that day, and I was like, I don't know where it went. Let's look around, whatever. And then, do whatever. Like, just, it's not a big deal. Just don't you know.
She has never really consumed one fully. It's
Well,
the same
so funny
thing with the
she
ice
told
cream.
me, I said, what are you excited about for Christmas? She said, lollipops.
Oh
I was
my
like,
goodness.
I was like, there are no lollipops for Christmas. She's like,
What?
And when she wanted to try the candy cane, I also did set that up. She wanted to try candy cane. We went to an
that
event.
was awesome.
And right before I gave it to her, I go, oh my gosh, do you know what candy canes taste like, True? And she's like, what? And I was like, toothpaste. And she's like, what? And she licked it and she goes, it's a little bit gross, but I kind of like it. And I was like, yeah, but it's a little bit gross, isn't it? She's like, yeah, it tastes like toothpaste. And she just gave it back to us. She was like, over it.
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean, whatever. You know? So with the healthy eating, I get a lot of people that email me and they'll just be like, my kid doesn't like blank or she won't eat blank. Don't take anything your toddler says and or babies verbatim. No. There are certain foods that I have put in front of True. You know, I probably put them in front of her 100 times. Like, it's things that we're eating, so it's not a waste. Yeah. If she doesn't consume it, I can put it away for my lunch the next day. You know, I just put it in front of her, and she'll tell me she doesn't like things. She tells me whatever. I'm always like, yes, you do like it. You might just not want it right now.
Give it a try.
I don't push, but I also don't push it. If she says she doesn't like something, I always frame it. You like it. You just don't want it right now, and I take it away. That's fine. But then those same foods are the foods she now loves. Yeah. I take none of it seriously when it's healthy food.
All of a sudden she's eating it and asking for it.
And toddlers are phasey. Toddlers are
They're
weird.
They're totally phasey about everything.
True goes through phases where every day she wants a green smoothie. Every day. So I'm just packing nutrients to her. I hide everything in there. Just, you know, I feel so good about it. And then all of a sudden one day she'll wake up and be like, I don't like green smoothies anymore. I only like pink smoothies. Now, I don't go down with her. I'm just like, okay, honey. And I make her pink smoothies. You know, I let go of that thing. I bring up the greens in other ways. And then, you know, like magic, 3 weeks later, where's my green smoothie? Right. Oh, it's right here. And I just keep putting it in front of her. You know, I don't make it a thing. I don't make it a fight, because if you put resistance, that's a thing too.
For sure.
Never take them seriously, and never say in front of your child they don't like blank. I'm telling you.
Never.
It's an affirmation. It's the same way as, you know, how we all understand now affirmations work for us. Mm-hmm. Our subconscious, it makes us who we are.
Be impeccable with your word.
Be impeccable in front of your children. And if you think your children aren't listening to you, they're listening to you. Mm-hmm. So don't say it around them. Don't make a statement for them. When you're at a birthday party and they say, do they like blank or do they like blank? Never lead with, she doesn't like whatever. Always lead with the affirmative. This is what she does choose. And I always use powerful language like, this is what she likes to eat, or this is what she chooses. I never say like or dislike. Delete it from there's no such thing. Your child will change 1,000,000 times before they're a full adult. Keep presenting, keep saying the powerful words. Play with shapes and textures. True will go through phases where I will think, quote unquote, she doesn't like something like cucumber. What she needs is for me just to cut it differently. Sounds crazy. Sometimes she wants a whole cucumber skinned just to munch on. Sometimes she wants strips. Sometimes she wants rounds. I've talked with this with other moms. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, that works. Now that you're saying that. Sometimes she wants a whole apple. Sometimes she wants it in slices. You know, I'm not performing magic in the kitchen. I'm just saying sometimes cut it up differently, and these kids will surprise you. They're annoying. Just roll with them. My bonus one, number 6, is keep it weird.
Keep it weird.
True loves it when I say, hey, want to do something weird?
Yes.
She is like, yeah, I want to do something weird. You know, make hummus pink. Yeah. Add a little bit of beet in there.
Right.
Be like, do you want magic pink hummus?
Yes.
Do you want roasted chickpeas for breakfast? What? That's weird. Yeah, it is. Let's do it. Like, if you make things fun and engage in them, that weird is fun.
Just simple things.
It's so simple and it's so silly, and you don't have to go on Pinterest and make like a forest out of a salad to get them to whatever. I'm not even suggesting that. I'm just saying simple things that keep it weird. You know, having her help cook, you know, it gets annoying sometimes. Like this morning, she woke up at like 5:30 and was like, where's the blender? I need a smoothie. Yeah. And it's like, oh my God, girl. But at the same time, I can't resent that. My sweet little 3-year-old child pops out of bed and thinks, I need to make myself a smoothie. Who are you?
Yeah,
I could just shake her. I'm so proud of her.
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean, you know, keep it fun. Remember, like, even when it starts to get upsetting, I know some kids are like very challenging when it comes to not eating foods, and I know that you can get bogged down mentally. Know that these are malleable little people. Keep presenting. Keep it fun. Shift your energy. Don't go in it clouded. You know, keep it going.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks.
Awesome. I've seen them all in action, and all extremely effective.
Very effective.
So I'm like taking notes, teaching people about this stuff because it's so good, even for adults.
Exactly.
Even for adults. Like I joke about the husband thing, but in a lot of cases it's true.
It is.
You know, anyways, thanks for the top 5. That's our segment for today.
Guys. Please keep them coming. I love it. It's so inspiring. Really gets me thinking.
That's our show for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy our program, please subscribe on iTunes or any podcasting app of your choice. If you want to hear more from us, you can find us on social channels at Damie Health, youtube.com/Damie Health, Instagram.com/Damie Health. We are there, and follow us for more information like this one. Thanks for watching. Rate and subscribe if you can, and hope you have an awesome week. Talk soon. Bye.